20th meeting of the Town Council. You'll kindly rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So the only announcements I have are following. The town offices will be closing at noon on Monday, December 24th, and will be closed Tuesday, December 25th for the observance of Christmas, as well as Tuesday, January 1st for New Year's Day. Thank you. Councilors Tom Koenig and Pete Albert are excused this evening. So if you're waiting to see them, they won't be here. Monday, January 7th at 6 p.m. is a budget meeting. Thursday, January 10th, the regular town council meeting will begin at 7, and Monday, January 14th at 6 p.m. will be another budget meeting. Eileen, did you have anything?
Okay, the Rape Aggression Defense is a self-defense program designed specifically for women. It's called RAD, Rape Aggression Defense System, involves education and awareness, risk reduction, avoidance strategies, and physical training. Participants are taught by certified instructors and are provided take-home reference manuals. The program consists of 4 3-hour training sessions for a total of 12 hours. Our first program will be held on January 8th, 10th, 15th, 17th, from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the John O'Leary Adult Community Center. Applications may be obtained at the and dropped off at the police station. And for any questions, please contact
ACO,
Animal Control Officer Galino. The Citizens Police Academy will begin on January 23rd. It is held from 6 to 9 p.m. each Wednesday until March 23rd. Applications can be found on the police department's website. And if I may, do a little off-the-cuff thing here. A couple of days ago, as you know, I received an email from Clark Frizey at the Department of Environmental Services, who has indicated that they're looking to hold a public hearing they're doing a series of public hearings around the state having to do with setting up MCO, maximum contaminant levels, for PFAS and in New Hampshire. And so I've offered the town, it's a difficult week because they want to do it on the 4th to the 8th of March, and that's a difficult week for us because of deliberative sessions and that kind of thing. So we're trying to work on that, but I just wanted to let you know that we've offered Merrimack if we can get a place. So I'm told by Sarita they expect to have a number that they're going to be presenting as the recommendation. Then they'll have their public hearings, and then they'll make a final recommendation to the legislature. Thank you.
Thanks, Eileen. Highway Garage update, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At last meeting, I told you we were a little bit delayed with the highway garage. We had a meeting on Wednesday where we went over pretty much the punch list items with the contractor. We're still a little bit delayed. The building is coming together. We're waiting on a couple of items that are pretty significant in life safety measures, with air handlers and things of that sort that should be in the day after Christmas and installed right away. We'll probably be moving into the new facility during the month of January, and then renovating the old facility once moved in. And we are still under budget.
It's a beautiful thing.
And will continue to be so.
I'm counting on it. Comments from the press and public. If you'd like to address the council, you can feel free to come up to the table or over to this mic over here. And seeing no one coming, we'll move on to recognitions, resignations, and retirements. And this evening, we're going to be recognizing Special Resource Officer, Detective First Class Michael Murray for his 30 years of service to the town of Merrimack. And Chief Mike.
Yeah, I wasn't born either, when. Oh, yeah, come up here. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming out and honoring this guy right here, Mike Murray. Going through Mike's file, again, like we try to do when people are being recognized by the town, is certainly a big task when you have somebody who's been here for over 30 years. But just the fact that he's been here for 30 years doesn't describe who Mike Murray is. You know, Mike Murray is a son. Kate Murray, his mom, is here. Stepfather Albert. He's a fiance to Heather Gage. He's also a dad. He's proud. He's one of the best police officers that we have ever had here in Merrimack. He's a mentor to all the officers and his supervisors that have worked with him and still work with him. Mike is a role model to the kids that for almost 20 years he has been with at Merrimack High School. And when you think about that, 20 years with high school kids, he doesn't have hair for a reason. It's probably the biggest one. You know, every time I meet somebody who says, oh, I went to Merrimack High, is Officer Murray still there? He is, they can't believe it, but he has had such an impact on the people that he's encountered. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Those are just a few of the things that he's done. He's been Police Officer of the Year. In 2014, the EMS and Fire Foundation awarded him the Lifetime Achievement Award. That's not something that comes easily in our profession. Well, I have notes. There's so many things I have notes. In 1997, he received the Outstanding Effort Award for looking beyond the ticket. And if any of you remember Mike when he was in patrol, if our computers were down, all we'd have to do is ask him who the car belonged to, and he would know. There were a lot of good times working with Mike, a lot of scary times. But these are all just things. He became, he started actually as a dispatcher. He became a special officer. He became full-time and went to be the school resource officer. In 2013, became a detective. So all those things culminate into who Mike is. One of the biggest things that Mike has done, though, is he's been an ambassador for us for Special Olympics. And Special Olympics is something that's near and dear to our department's heart. Mike has traveled the world, and when I say the world, I truly mean the world. He's been to South Korea. He's been to China. He's been all over the world representing not only the United States in Special Olympics, but the Merrimack Police Department. And that is something that never, ever goes unnoticed. Mike just got back last week with Detective Lambert from Wreaths Across America. And for those of you who don't know what that is, they start in Bangor, or no, they start in Maine, way, way, way up north in Maine. And they travel with tractor trailers full of wreaths, stopping along the way to honor not only the soldiers who have been killed, but the families that they've left behind. And the Mike and Mike show have gone, and they've represented us again, the only two police officers from the state of New Hampshire to do that. In that we could not be more proud of everything that you've done. Mike is always one of the first ones to step up and go to Washington, D.C. during National Police Memorial Week. And really, what that says is that he honors our profession. He honors the people who have sacrificed so much to protect the citizens of their communities. Mike makes an effort to try to go to every police funeral in this area. And it's not just to show the officers that he appreciates them, but more so to show the families that he cares and that their loved ones' lives mattered. So out of all those things that Mike is, his best quality is being kind. Mike is the first one to step up and offer a ride to the airport, the first one to grab a chainsaw with Matt Tarleton to cut some trees down. The things that he will do for people are endless, and we appreciate that, Mike. We appreciate your family sacrificing a lot to let you do what you do, and I just want to thank you for 30 years. We look forward to a lot more, because no one else wants to go in high school. And thank you.
say in appreciation of 30 years of service, Mark. Thank you so much.
When they give you a clock, it's time to retire. Oh, so I really enjoyed my police career. The patrol years were fun. Really kind of got a job, so I don't have to pay for gas, brakes, or tires. I really liked the patrol work. And then the high school is really kind of where I really didn't like kids when I was at patrol, but now that I'm at the high school, I've kind of learned to like them. It's 30 years. We had 3 payphones in town that we communicated to dispatch with. It was way before cell phones, and the job has really become very technical, and quite frankly, the pay and benefits haven't kept up to what we thought the job was back then. But I really love what I've done. I'm really happy to see the new guards stepping up in a very challenging and thankless, dangerous profession. That's, at the end, you really just feel proud of what you've done. And I want to thank my family for supporting me and the missed holidays and all that stuff. But thank you, and peace.
Congratulations.
Very good.
I don't know why they're not staying.
I don't blame him. We'll give him a minute or so to. Nelson, did you want to come up? Are you gonna be speaking to this?
I'm going to be speaking, but two other things ahead of me.
Are there?
Nope, it's the first one.
Oh, okay, those are just places.
Oh,
Once you get to
actually,
the placeholders,
no, there is
so
a
the
couple,
first one.
feel free to have a seat, because nobody will be taking that seat before you, so. We'll move on. There's,
Kathy Stackwell.
she can sit next to him.
She gets
Yeah.
the next one.
All right, no appointments, no public hearing, legislative updates.
We do
Yep.
have a state rep.
You don't mind Nelson being up with you?
She doesn't bite, Nelson.
I did jump the gun.
She doesn't bite.
Kathy, just push the mic on.
Green button. Yeah. No, the down a little bit more.
Where it says push? Okay. Working?
Parking.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I'd first like to thank Councilwoman Healy and also Councilor Boyd. I believe I saw you at the MVD meeting this week. I just wanted to thank both of you for coming and showing your support and participation in some of the concerns that the town is working through at this time. And I think it was very helpful that you were both there and certainly appreciated. Legislative updates. I wish I could give you a lot of information today. I can't. We haven't officially started yet. We will be starting on the 2nd of January. However, I would like to report that Rosemary Rung, myself, Nancy, and Wendy, and Janine Nodder have all submitted LSRs on behalf of the town. The majority of them will deal with the water, although a few others are going to deal with some other issues that are going on, and I'll be happy to report on those when I find out more. And again, if you have anything that we could help you with, we'd be more than happy to at least take a look at it and see what we can do. If anything at all, we're happy to do it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Kath.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Town manager report. No. No consent agenda, no old business? So Nelson, you are next. So, item number 1 under new business, the council to consider the acceptance and expenditure of an anonymous donation in the amount of $750 to the Merrimack Town Center Committee to be used towards improving the town center sidewalks and general appearance pursuant to RSA 31:95B and Charter Article 8, Section 15. Hi, Nelson.
Okay, thank you, Finley, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for entertaining this proposal this evening. I've been contacted by an anonymous donor who would like to make a contribution toward our projects of the town center, mainly the sidewalks and other beautification. And he has made out a check to me, which I in turn made out a check to you to conceal his identity because he wanted to remain anonymous. We've had anonymous donations before. You may remember, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, we got a $500 donation to this fund. And today I'm happy to offer a $750 donation from a citizen who wants to see the work continued. And that's what it's all about. I just asked the council this evening to accept this on behalf of the town. We have a little kitty, if you will. We had a little fund that was set aside, which Paul has brought me up to date on, but there's about $250 in that kitty now, and this will bring it up to about $1,000. So at such time as we find an appropriate use for this money, we'll be back to you for expending it. Questions? Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that the town council accept and expend the anonymous donation in the amount of $750 to the Merrimack Town Center Committee to be used towards improving the town center sidewalks and general appearance pursuant to RSA 31:95-B and Charter Article 8-15, and furthermore, that the town council direct the town manager to write a Dear Anonymous letter to the individual in question, expressing our deepest thanks and gratitude for their generous contribution.
Second.
That is correct.
Seeing none, I'll call the question. Sorry about that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. 5-0-0. Thank you, Nelson.
Thank you, ladies and
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Nelson.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item number two under new business. The council to consider the acceptance and expenditure of a donation from the Merrimack Crime Line in the amount of $5,000 to be used towards the purchase of a new canine pursuant to RSA 31:95B and Charter Article 8, Section 15. Hi, Brian.
The matter before the town council, Mr. Chairman, is acceptance of $5,000 from the Merrimack Crime Line, who we've had a great partnership with over the years, and they've been really supportive of our PD and our programs. As you're aware, we unfortunately had to retire Dallas due to some liability issues, and we're looking to use the $5,000 to purchase a new canine.
Very good. Barbara.
Where is Dallas?
Dallas was found a new home at Merrimack County Department of Corrections.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so we'll be able to do single purpose, basically only just searching cells and such.
Yep.
It was just too nice.
I know.
We were all concerned about that too, and that's why we want to make sure we found a suitable use for them.
Yep, very good. Yep, no, that's great. Bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Deputy, can you explain to me what protocols are going to be used in the future for the new canine that's coming to Merrimack? In other words, what were some of the things that were discovered in Dallas at the onset that caused the regression that you're going to be seeking out as you pursue a new canine dog for the community?
We can never predict how canines are going to react in the future. When we originally purchased Dallas, there was, he was younger, a couple of years old, but they thought they were going to work to maturity. He did some great work for a while. Then when we deployed him in the field, we saw him fail. Essentially, we had some live scenario training up in New York that the canine handler went to, and we saw him regress there. I relate to almost similar to someone that goes into a line of police work, and after a couple of years, finds out it's not for them. So to offer protocols, I don't think I can do that, Councilman Boyd. But I can tell you that right now, we have a dog training right now down at Boston Police Academy, and he's performing very, very, very well with no hesitation.
And I see that Patrolman Wallen's going to continue on being the K-9 officer.
Correct, and part of the reason that this happened so quickly is because the staff down at Boston Academy respects him as a handler. And the dog that he currently has now was earmarked for another police department. However, they knew that this was a good fit for Steve and for him to continue working. And they actually waived the academy fee this time around. So we didn't have to pay for the training fee. That's how well respected he was. And it wasn't through lack of work with the handler. The handler puts in several hours and always training with them, so.
Okay. Thank you, Deb. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anything further?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the town council accept and expend a donation from the Merrimack Crime Line in the amount of $5,000 to be used towards the purchase of a new K-line pursuant to RSA 31:95-B and Charter Article 8-15. Furthermore, town council wishes to express its continued gratitude and thanks to the Crime Line for their efforts, not just for the K-9, but other similar community endeavors.
Motion by Councilor Boyd, second by Tom Thornton. Any further discussion on your motion? No? I guess not. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 500. Oh, Eileen, yes.
Does he have a name yet?
Yes, he does.
What is it?
Pluto?
Yes! I like it. I
Love
like
it.
I'm not
I
sure if
like
the
it.
handler's children had help in naming him. But yeah, Pluto. Very friendly.
Pluto, I
like
love
it.
it.
Not
I
going
like
to
it.
inspire fear.
Yeah.
Pluto, get him. Bite Pluto.
I was expecting that, so.
No, it's gonna
He surely is deserving of a blow dry and whatever that nice company offered. Fluff and blow dry. Blowout, that's what it was. All right.
that's gonna lull the perp into a sense of security.
Yeah.
Oh, Pluto, really Pluto, and then he
Big
just,
goofy Disney guy, yeah.
yeah.
You did hesitate. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Frank. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Deputy.
All right. Item number 3 under new business, the council will discuss the recommended change to the charter in reference to capital reserve fund deposits. Yes, Paul.
As you know, last year, during the very end of the budget, we got told that because of an RSA change, RSA 35.5 change, that we can no longer have our capital reserve deposits put in the bottom line of our budgets, and we would have to do them by special warrant article or separate warrant article. There was some discussion by the council to ask for some charter amendment to now include those into the budget process going forward. Basically, I took a stab at some language here in black. I have had talks with our legal counsel, on making this charter change and getting the proper language. What I come before you tonight to see if that you want to continue with this charter change, and if so, I need the council to vote to move it to a public hearing. There are some things that the legal counsel needs to do in time for the public hearing, as well as get us the proper language for the charter change to allow the town council to do what we always did. And we are working with DRA also so that there's no snags, because it's a very tight timeline to get it on the ballot and keep it on the ballot.
And they're giving us a very difficult time.
Right now. DRA is, but I got Carrie Ann on it. She's handling it for us. She'll do
What
it.
is their concern? Or did they really?
He needs to look at the language in the law with the budgeting law to make sure that we're not trying to circumvent anything.
It's a new guy.
It's a new guy, so. Steve Hamilton, as you know, came to us in May. He has since left DRA. So his knowledge and everything that went along with it has left with him. So there's a lot of new people in there. So this is one new person that we have to deal with and try to get the language through.
Okay. Right?
But needless to say, we need to move forward because of the timing thing and
Nancy?
I'd like to do a motion, please.
Yes, please.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion that the town manager and Paul, whoever that might be, proceed with the development of a charter change related to the special warrant article needed for the revision of the capital reserve funds and to post to public hearing. Does that cover everything you need?
Motion by Nancy, a second by Tom Thornton. Any further discussion on your motion?
The only way to address it, we've heard about this before. We knew it was coming, and that this is just the finalization, so.
Very good. No further discussion. I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed or abstained is 500. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you.
Item number 4 under new business, the council discussed the January budget meeting schedule. And
So-
we talked about changing.
At the very end of last council meeting, we brought up the fact that we might be changing from a Monday, Thursday schedule to a Wednesday, Thursday schedule. Just wanted to come back and get the council's opinion and formalize whether we're gonna stay with the Monday, Thursday, or we're gonna move with the Wednesday, Thursday. It was brought up by one of the councilors, Councilor Thornton, that he would not be able to attend Monday meetings, so that's why I talked about the change. I looked at it. Just for your edification, the only committee that really meets on Wednesday is the school budget committee meeting, but they don't meet here. They meet at the high school, and I believe agricultural meets on Wednesday as well, but they will be moved to the other conference room. So we would free up this meeting room for the council if they wanted to meet on Wednesday nights.
Works for me. I'd love to have meetings 2 nights in a row.
Do you have the proposed dates?
Yes,
Yes, I do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I gave you both, it would be
Sorry.
January 9th, 16th,
Okay. I was looking at
17th,
the
and
wrong
23rd.
one.
Yep. So it's
Thank
there.
you.
I'm sorry. Look, let's see how you do it again. I get my own world focusing on my thing instead of, sorry about that, Barbara.
So, Paul, just to clarify, it is the copy of the dates in yellow?
Copy of the dates are yellow or the Monday, Thursday.
Yeah,
Copy of the dates in green are the Wednesday, Thursday.
okay.
Actually, mine, you said yellow?
Thought I had purple.
Mine's a little greenish. I don't know. I mean, it works. I see the difference, but
I can't help what the color copier does.
No, that's, but get rid of the yellow.
it's the 9th, 10th, 16th, 17th, 23rd,
Oh, there's the
24th,
green.
30th, and 31st.
Okay.
And if that's best for, if we can get as many of us here, that would be preferable anyhow, so.
The only caution I want to say is the original budget schedule went up to March and April. So this new revised one only goes up to February. So just make sure you save the pages from the previous schedule.
Actually, I have a new budget schedule when you get your budget books tonight. So
Oh,
you'll get a
it's
new
already
budget.
in there?
It's already in there.
It's all inclusive?
It's all inclusive.
Perfect. Thank you, Paul.
Everybody go? So I guess that'll do it. Perfect. All right, last item under new business, number 5, the town manager is to present her recommended 2019-2020 budget.
They made it pretty.
Yeah, I turned it on. Oh. It should be on. It's probably taking a second. It's flashing. Yeah.
You know, that's way too many icons on your desktop. Just telling you.
So, Paul is playing around with his stuff here. I'm going to cut right to the chase, and I'm going to tell you that we're proposing a tax rate increase of 0. So we'll go over the budget, and basically we're going to tell you about the ins and outs, revenues, expenditures, and that kind of thing. So you can see, and obviously you'll be meeting with each of the department heads to go over their budgets and ask them specific questions. What happens is that department heads submit their budgets. We go through the capital improvements plan also, so we can incorporate those kinds of things in there. I want to very, very much commend Paul for all the work that he does in trying to get that all coordinated. It's very difficult. Each individual department head doesn't understand what it's like to try and be presented with a whole plate full of needs, and realize that you can only do so many in a certain year for affordability and for practicality. And also there's things that you look at that between departments. You've got a truck, why can't you give the truck to them, that kind of stuff. So anyway, it's very good job by Paul. So thank you very much. So as you know, the budget, the tax rate involves revenues and expenditures. So we, in the general fund, which is where the tax rate is derived, we actually get about $10 million in revenue aside from tax revenue, property tax revenue. We get almost $5 million or more than $5 million in in motor vehicle permit taxes alone. So basically what it comes down to is you have a budget, you subtract the money that you get from other sources, and then you go to the public for the rest. And that's why revenue is important. That is unrelated to property tax warrant. So the building permits, we're proposing an increase. These are revenues. Where did I put my things here? We're proposing an increase of $15,000 in motor vehicle permit fees. Okay, here they are. So it was $135,000 that we had in the budget, and now we're proposing an increase of $15,000 to $150,000. Ambulance revenue, we had a budget of $750,000. Now it's at $775,000 for an increase of $25,000. Interest income, that kind of goes without saying. It was $400,000 this current year, and we're projecting it out to be another $50,000. There's administrative charges, and that basically what that is that because of the accounting rules, each fund has to be charged administrative costs to the different departments. So the wastewater fund is charged, for instance, for payroll and for all the varied purchasing and, Kyle's time and, all those kinds of things. So you have to allocate time to make sure that each fund is paying their own way. So that's gone up. And that's done by a calculation that is, has to do with revenues and expenditures and that kind of thing, consistently applied to each department. The decrease is for the school resource officer grant. You were aware of that. Can you just wait a second? This is only for a partial year? Is that what you're going to ask me? Why is it only $85,000? It's because this is only for a partial year. Huh? You knew that? Oh, sure. I thought I was going to read your mind there. So, okay, go ahead. Okay, all right then. So this is from September,
October 1st.
October 1st. So, yeah, the grant ends at the end of September, so we're picking it up. This is for 3/4 of the year. And it doesn't affect the expenditures because the expenditures are already in there on that side. Media franchise fees, last year we had bumped that up to a contribution back to the general fund of $250,000. And I moved that back to 200 with the understanding about, I was talking to Nicholas about the cord cutters and how everything's changing, and our revenue may be coming down from the franchise fees. And Barbara and Nicholas and the group have been meeting about those things already, and I understand they're productive meetings. So, sale of property, we reduced that by $15,000 based on actuals. So, this is like tax deeded property, and you get the money back and that kind of thing. So we put in an amount of money every year, and last year I think we knew of more that was coming, and this year we are not aware of any. And then this miscellaneous is just basically a plug number to make it come out. So an increase of, and this is a general fund from where the tax rate is derived. So net revenue increase of $25,000. Appropriations, health insurance. I know that we told you that the health insurance was going to go up by 10.1%, which is over $300,000 increase. Our census changed this year, so we have a lot of young people, maybe more on the single plan than the family plan, and just one person could be $15,000 from a family plan to a single. So we instead of realizing a $300,000 increase, is $94,000. But I just want to point out that the percentage increase is still the same for the rate, for the premium. Workers' comp is an increase. The ins and outs, you'll see a very large increase in the fire department. I think their workers' comp is up to a rate of 5.8% now. And that has to do with our own experience, which has been very difficult over the past 3 years or so. And, it takes a while for that to, kind of work its way out, because they carry a certain number of years. So we'll expect that to start coming down again now that you've hired the extra firefighters. Overtime in the fire department, the reason why we have extra money there is because even though there's no union contracts in this budget for increases in union contracts, we will, you will see, or please? Except for the police. Except for the police. But there were increases from, like, you have somebody who was a regular firefighter and now they're a master firefighter, or a master patrol officer, and those increases happen regardless of whether or not the contract passes, so they have to be included in the budget. And consequently, the overtime, the wages go up, so the overtime, in order to have the same number of hours of overtime. Asphalt pile crushing, we do this every couple of years. Take the asphalt that we store at the transfer station, highway garage, and use it for a base for our road infrastructure work. Like I said, we keep it for a certain period of time, and every couple of years we'll go in, and so this is a cost, very beneficial thing for us to do. We're proposing to pave the MYA parking lot, cost of $25,000. Paving the fire department parking lots, which are the two?
The aprons of the three stations,
Three?
south, central, and the three, it would be south, central, and then Reed's Ferry.
Reed's
Would just
Ferry?
be, it's just the aprons, because they're cracking and.
Reed's Ferry? Oh, okay. So, police cruisers, that has to do with, we're proposing a fourth police cruiser this year. There's a rotation, so it's 3 cruises, one, for a certain number of years, then a fourth one. And the reason why it's not that one cruiser costs an extra $50,000, it's that the cost of the cruisers has gone up. So you have a new one, and then you have an additional one, and the increase in the other 3. So outside services, ambulance collection fees. You saw over there on the other side where we were upping our amount of money that we're projecting for revenue from ambulance. There's a cost to that too, because we pay a certain percentage in order to have a collection agency do that work for us. Natticook Lake dredging and docks. That is in the budget. We feel we have a good number this year. This is one of the ones that, as I said, we talked about last year, but we didn't feel real comfortable with the number. We'll go over that in greater detail, but I think it's an alarming number, but there's all kinds of things like Peter had mentioned, the big huge tree with roots, and we need to take that out. Well, it makes up the shoreline. So it holds the shoreline together. So if that gets taken out, there's all kinds of implications there. Maintenance of vehicles, and additional, it's over across the board for various vehicles, $19,000. And union wages, that is the police department, who's the only one that's in contract next year, unless we, because the other ones will be on the ballot. And then those steps that relate to educational attainment. So a master step, for instance, a master firefighter or a master police officer step occurs whether there's a contract or not. The ones based on longevity do not. So the steps you'll see on the proposals for the budget for each contract, you'll see an amount for wage increase, then you'll see steps. So there's these steps as well that are different. One has to be paid, and the other one can be postponed if we don't have a contract. Also, the library has proposed changing their part-time custodian to a full-time custodian, and that's mostly in benefit costs, health insurance costs. So a total of $528,000 in increases, and there are also decreases in the budget. So there are a whole bunch of things in here that allowed us to be able to get to a zero on the tax rate, and I think it's important that you see that. There's no magic wand. So compensated absences, we had talked about this earlier, and that has to do with accrued sick leave and all those kinds of things for when people retire. So every couple of years it goes up and it goes down, and it's based on, again, the census of who's retired, how many people can retire, and all that kind of thing. So that went up quite a bit last year, and it's gone down this year.
And that's because we have a lot of new people and people have already retired.
That and the calculation in order to get these people in compensated absence, the number of people who are reaching the age
Right.
is down.
Okay.
We had $19,000 in there for voting booths last year, and we don't have that this year. Property and liability insurance is being projected to go down by $9,000. We paid in cash for the HVAC here in Town Hall, and we don't have that again this year. Debt service, which is the interest on the bond that we have in the general fund, is going down. Consultants, that has to do with the space need study for the highway, for the public safety facility. It was $25,000, but there was $5,000 already in there.
Yeah, we kept $5,000.
Kept $5,000 in there. So vehicle for community development, we bought that last year. We're not buying it again, so we subtracted that out. Police overtime, that is less than last year, and that has to do with that whole kind of where they overlapped with the training and all that kind of thing. We hired new people, and yet we had the people on staff, and they had to still do overtime because they were training the others. So that's back. And then there's another, the miscellaneous is a plug. So, so there was an increase and a decrease, and net of a total increase of $27,000 in the general fund. So I'm not going to go over, you know these, just want to show it again. We break things out into what they, into their respective groups so that you can look at them from the point of view of this is what the operating funds are, these are what all these other things are that may change, like the capital reserve funds may change drastically in a year, and it can throw off your perception of what the budget actually is compared to the operating revenues. So we've broken those all out as we do. And at the bottom in the light blue is we show all the self-supporting funds, and as you know, all the self-supporting funds, there's the exact amount of revenue to match. So this shows just one column of that, which is the operating expenses. And it kind of tells the story of what we said to you. General government, there's ins and outs. The HVAC was in there?
No, that's the, most of that is for compensated absences.
Oh, compensated absences. So, the fire department has to do with,
The wages.
and workers' comp, as I
Workers'
said.
comp.
Workers' comp went up a lot for the fire department. So, as I said, we'll go through all that, but it's a increase in the general fund operating of $143,000, or a 0.59% increase in expenditures for the operating funds. In capital, we have proposed an extra $10,000 in capital reserve fund deposits. And in other capital, such things, unusual things, again, those are where those ins and outs show. There's your $200,000 for the town hall HVAC, and the car and all those kinds of things. So you can see there's a decrease of $101,000 in that category, other capital, which is a 24% decrease. And then road infrastructure, I was gonna increase that, but I wanted it to be at zero. So we left it at $800,000. So then the capital reserve fund expenditures, that is a in and out.
That's an in and out, yes.
So there's a exact matching revenue for that. And the increase in the total general fund is 0.19%. Capital reserve funds, you can look at those at your leisure. You can't read them on there. It just shows you what your balances are in each of the funds, what's proposed, what it was last year, what's proposed to go in, what's supposed to go out, and what the balances are that will be left. So you can get a sense of how much money is existing still in there. So here are some of the purchases. the licenses and server upgrades for the computer equipment at Town Hall, Microsoft Office, Microsoft licenses, apparatus for the
Fire trucks.
computer replacement. Suppression hose, we've been doing a, good chunk of money every year to replace that, and the large diameter supply hose. Road infrastructure, drainage improvements, we always do $200,000 a year. DW and Woodbury sidewalk, that's that. Again, that's a placeholder for the TAP grant, Transportation Alternatives Grant. Turkey Hill Road intersection, again, that's a placeholder.
Yes, because we'll be coming back in front of the council once we get final design. They're working on a plan for that intersection, and the council will have final say on what design we go with.
And both of these boat ramps that we have or had on the budget, I understand there's quite a bit of questions on those. And one of the things that Paul had suggested, and I think it's a really good idea, is that in the spring, when we make further when you make further decisions about that, we'll have somebody go in and actually take some drone pictures of what the terrain looks like in the spring. Because I think it's really important for people to make sure that they understand that it's not an easy job or a straight shot for any of those.
Sort of a joke, but not really. It's probably worth a field trip,
Could be.
that we could go out there and really be able to be
Bring your hip
looking at the
waders.
same thing at the same time.
Bring your hip waders.
I was thinking more of the drone for the public. So we could put
Drone.
the drone, so we could put the video up on the website so the public can see it too, as well
Okay,
as,
that as well.
we could do
Yeah.
a field trip as well.
Good idea.
Yeah, the spring is going to be really moist, but even that tells you something.
It does. So then we have a pickup truck, dump trucks that we do every year, traffic light preemption, we put aside a certain money for that every year, a landscape trailer for DPW, a loader. The library wants to do their children's room windows, and from what I understand, it's combined into a project that involves the drainage issues that they're having with the, because they actually go below grade in some instances. And then these are wastewater fund. These come out of the sewer fund, not the general fund. They're reported for you to see. A screener, a manhole line rehab, a sewer rate study, and replacement instruments and controller. For a total of capital reserve funds expenditures of $1.85 million. What are you laughing at?
Instruments are
The
wrong.
spelling, instruments.
Oh, I usually catch that.
See, yeah, you caught me. I wouldn't have said anything.
It's okay. If that's the only
Yeah,
thing
I
you
could
find
hear-
out.
I could hear the uproarious laughter over there. Subtlety. So anyway, so your grand total, the grand total for all funds is $47 million. Now, this looks very alarming, but you can see that big sore thumb there, the wastewater Phase 3 project is in there as a bond for $13 million. So that's what the difference is here. So, again, this is increases and decreases. It shows all the ins and outs for each of the different categories, operating, capital reserve, all these various things, revenues, for a total. And as you can see, we left the town's value the same. So if you look at the next to the last line, divide by town value, which determines what your tax, one of the aspects of how to calculate the tax rate, is $3.4 billion. And we haven't proposed an increase on that as of yet. And the tax rate's $5.10 for the town right now, and that's what we're proposing.
I thought it was 520.
We were originally saying it was going to be 520, but now with everything in, when taking all those things out, primarily taking those things out that we're not doing again, that we had, the $200,000, et cetera.
So our present rate is 510.
It's 510.
That's what,
I thought it was 520.
no, $5.10 is the December tax bill. When we came in front of you in October, we were presenting an increase of 10 cents to
Right.
$5.20.
That's what you were thinking of.
So, but we came in at flatlined at $5.10.
The HVAC.
Flat line is not good to
200?
hear for nurses.
Yes, 200 for the HVAC.
That's good. Because weren't we expecting over 240?
We were expecting a lot more. Actually, I think during the discussions, it was around 240, 250. Town council voted for 200, and actually, we
Oh, we did.
came in
Yeah.
under the $200,000. I believe we were at like 182 on the
very
total
good.
project right now.
So it was very much worth it then.
Yes.
It will be, when it's all the kinks are out.
Yeah, they're not completely done. There's still some more work that needs to be done, and once that gets done, and
They did a nice job,
they
though.
did a good job. They were very professional.
Not that it's for tonight, but are they going to be enclosing that ductwork in the?
Yes, they are.
Oh,
They,
yes.
that's all part of the
Yeah.
next phase when they take out the P-tax off the wall.
Okay, yeah.
They're bringing in their framers, they're bringing in
Do all
their,
that.
that's when they're gonna do that part of the project, which is coming up, starting tomorrow.
Excellent, thank you.
So some of the things are pending, same as always, what's going to happen with the state budget, you never know. The things that could affect us are the rooms and meals taxes, highway block grant. We don't get an awful lot of money from the state anymore, so it's not any big mystery or thing to concern ourselves over like we used to, because we never knew what they were going to do. And then whatever they're going to do in the state budget, we have no proposals for non-union wage increases, and we're currently in the middle of negotiating 5 union contracts. So those will be on the ballot. Each one will be on the ballot separately if they're settled.
Yep.
So here's your, we like to show this so you get a sense. So this shows where we are with the tax rate and how it's broken out. So where the town is we're still at 21% of the tax rate. So the school is
72.
The school is 74, and the county's 5%. So if you had a $260,000 home, your bill would be $6,300, of which the county is about $300. The town, including everything, police, fire, public works, road improvements, everything you can think of having to do with the town, street lights, trash disposal, all those things comes to 20%, less than 20%, 21%, and the school is almost 74%.
When did we start using 260 for a value?
We
Not a
got
big
it.
deal, I'm saying
No,
math,
we got
but-
it from Lauren Martin.
Oh.
Ask her what the average rate, and she said it's actually a little bit less.
That's average?
Yeah,
A
that's
little
the average.
less, the average, yeah.
That's the average in Merrimack that we were told, 260,000.
Really?
But the other thing is,
I
though,
thought that was a starter. Maybe not.
as Paul had pointed out to me, we're undervalued now,
Yes, 8% or more.
about 8%, yeah, no, about 8%. It means that, so every year we do, the state does what they call an equalization ratio. So they take all the values and try and compare them apples to apples for every community in the state. And so they do all that, and they come to a ratio to see where you are in terms of the sales, and where our value collectively is less by a certain percentage than 100.
So a house that could be sold for a certain amount.
Nancy? Mike, sorry.
Thank you. A house that can sell on the market for a certain amount is actually assessed 8% below that value according to,
Or more. I'm not sure what it is. We might be,
well, it's a big difference.
Yes, you're right. So if
So the assessment is less than what the retail value
retail
is.
is,
but it's important for everybody to understand that that goes across the board.
Across
So
the
it's
board.
not.
Some will be more,
it
some
could-
will be less.
And not only that, because we have so much business here, you
Right.
could have one business that was at 110%, and the other in a house might be a lot less or more, or there's a big mix there. It's not just all
It's
residential.
not just residential.
Yeah.
And we're checking it every year, about, 25% of our, don't we, check the valuation of those every year?
we go and do measure and pictures. We do not raise values we only
Right.
raise values every
But-
5.
But we
Well,
assess.
We go out and we look, take our pictures, remeasure, things of that sort, to make sure the property cards are accurate 25% of the town
At a time.
at a time.
So every 5 years.
We go and look at everything and
A total.
reassess. Yes.
And also take the building permits too, and verify sales as well.
Everything. This, I want to just make a comment, this 260, when I say for home, it isn't a single-family home, it could be a condo. It's the average of all residential property.
residences.
Yep.
That's where we're at, 260, so it's all residents.
Gotcha.
Yep. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, you were talking about condos and stuff would be different.
Right.
That's true.
Maybe not.
Yeah, it just,
Some of them are higher than houses.
Yeah, true.
yeah. All right, does anybody have any questions for Paul or Eileen? No? All right.
Good
I
job.
do have budget books for you, and I
Oh,
do.
how thrilling.
I also have gifts, too. I have
Ooh,
little USBs for you, so
It's a beautiful
make sure you
thing.
get them before you leave tonight, so you could study over Christmas.
Where are they going to be?
I'll give them out to you.
very good. All right, thank you very much. Barbara?
Great job, guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is minutes, the approval of December 6th, 2018 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I would move the Thursday, December 6, 2018 Town Council meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion by Council Boyd, seconded by Tom Thornton. No changes, then if we're all set, call the question. All those in favor of the minutes?
Question?
Oh, you had some, I'm sorry.
I wasn't here. But on page 4, there are multiple references to our new representatives, but they weren't sworn in until last week. So shouldn't they be representative-elect
Yes.
when referring to them all?
Good catch.
So it's like line 4, it's line 15, it's line
So they can
18,
do it.
31,
Anytime they see representative, they could do.
Yeah,
Elect.
just add elect.
yeah. Make it easy for them, do a word search.
Very good. Surprised Bill Boyd didn't catch that.
Who's to say that I didn't catch it, but just to ignore it?
And there are also some on page 5 as well. for
More of the
ladies.
same, yep. Okay, anything further, Barbara? You're,
You have to go to the,
Yes, December 6th.
yes, oh, on the 5th.
They were sworn in on the 5th,
Oh, okay. well, then never
so they
mind.
were elected.
I thought it was last week.
so you were elected, okay.
So they are.
So Bill, you caught
Just
that
past
too?
that.
Bill caught it too, so there we go. Thank you, Ken.
I'm still in that
All right, so we
vacation
have
void.
minutes that were in perfect shape, so very good. All right, all those in favor of the minutes of December 6th signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained.
1.
401 with Barbara abstaining. Thank you very much. Comments from the press, comments from the public, comments from the council.
Just very quickly, Mr. Chairman, to everybody here, the community, the staff, the entire, everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you very much for a great 2018. Look forward to a great 2019. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Bill.
Ditto.
Same.
That's all.
All right.
Motion to adjourn?
Seconded.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0-0. Thank you very much. Thanks, Barbara.